to be, certainly every Southerner. Yet, if you'll forgive my mentioning this inconvenient and obdurate fact, you were, however, defeated in the war. And to what do you attribute that inconvenient fact, considering all of the military gifts that you so embodied?
I think too many people make too much fuss over this old rebel, personally.
Now.
When the contest began, 306 West Point graduates aligned themselves with the Confederacy, which really gave us an advantage in leadership. But at the same time, the population of the South was somewhere in the area of about 9 million people. 3.5 million of those were slaves and were not called upon to engage themselves in the contest. Many of them, we had several thousand over the period of the war that did serve with the Confederacy. While we had roughly 5.5 to 6 million people that could be available, some of those were women and some were children, they obviously couldn't. So our resources, man-wise, were very limited. Whereas the northern states had somewhere in the area of 28 million people to draw from. Take away the elderly, the young, and the women, they still had a reserve of somewhere in the area of 18 to 19 million people that they could draw on, and that didn't include those folks that were coming in on the boats coming into New York Harbor. So in addition to having a wealth of people at their disposal, they also had an industrialized society where we were an agrarian society, and there's no way you can fight battles with corn stalks. You have to have guns. So they had people and they had resources with which to wage war upon us, and it was almost an unlimited supply. So I would say that while our men were the highest of spirits, I led probably the greatest fighting force that one could ever hope to lead. There comes a time when you recognize that it's a needless effusion of blood to continue the contest, and that's what ultimately brought us to a cessation of hostilities.
Well, thank you, General. Now, General Grant, was it as a simple matter of brute force, of huge numbers, inexhaustible population, an industrial society, and all it took was someone nicknamed Butcher Grant who was willing to follow a simple strategy of attrition? Was that the essence of your victory, sir?
Well, as we learned from the Mexican War, attrition is not the only answer, because the Union forces or Federal forces